Good afternoon and welcome to the Thursday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. There is so many things going on here on the channel at the moment. I hope you can stick around. The upcoming weekend, there will be the release of the written 2025 Atlantic Hurricane Season Forecast. And also the live stream this weekend will be slightly different. It's going to be on Saturday evening. And Saturday is going to be quite a busy day here on the channel because I'm going to be releasing the written hurricane forecast, and also the live stream will be that evening. I'm thinking probably 7 p.m. for around about the hour, looking at all things global. Also looking at the June outlook. That will be getting released on Saturday as well. So, in fact, I hope to have the Atlantic hurricane forecast released in the next 24, 48 hours. I'm getting myself confused. The June forecast will get released on Saturday, and then on Sunday, the 1st of June, first day of meteorological summer, first day of Atlantic hurricane season as well. There will be a tropical outlook. It's going to be the second of the season. So plenty of reason to stick around here if you're enjoying the content, both locally as well as globally. We're looking at the tropics, and that is going to become a weekly feature as well. But there is very interesting things going on at the moment. We've got some remarkable warmth across parts of Canada. Many areas of Canada is firmly below average, or above average. I will get there in the end. Sorry about that. Above average is the case across much of Canada, as can be seen here in this ECMWF 2-meter temperature anomaly chart. This is looking down over the pole. You can see here, almost bang slap in the center of the chart is Greenland, Iceland. So we've got North America on this side. We've got the UK, Ireland, Europe on this side of the graphic here. So you can see a tremendous warm anomaly showing up across parts of Canada. But we're also seeing tremendous amounts of warmth over the Sahel region of Africa. The reasons why I mentioned the heat in Canada and the heat over Sahel Africa is that what's going on within the tropics, within the maritime continent, as in particular, we're seeing increased convection associated with an active phase of the Julian oscillation over this part of the world. That's helped kickstart the southwest monsoon. It's also forcing a strengthening of the jet stream to exit Asia across the Pacific. That's in turn boosting the pressure over Canada, driving record-breaking warmth. We're also seeing it down in the southern flank of the Sahara Desert as well. So I'm going to try and connect all the dots. I hope this is going to be reasonably straightforward to understand. But very hot conditions across North Africa at the moment. Near the coast of Senegal and Mauritania, we've got an all-time record in St. Louis, 46.6. That's an all-time record high here in Senegal. We've also got in Mauritania 46 as well. So the heat is building over the north of Africa. Now, what we're seeing at the moment, I think, over many parts of Canada is a downstream effect of that increased convection, the increased mountain torque over the Himalayas, strengthening the jet stream. We're seeing an increase in thermal gradient over East Asia as well. Record cold temperatures across parts of Russia. We're seeing blizzard conditions. Also some tremendous warmth further south. But it's this release of energy into the North Pacific jet that is then creating that ripple effect, which will eventually lead to what could be a record challenging hot spell for even the UK. So what's going on over the maritime continent, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, is having a ripple effect across the Pacific, increasing the heat across parts of North America. And I think eventually, 7 to 10 days down the line, we're going to see what's going on over North America, over Europe. So we're seeing temperatures, new monthly records falling all the way up to Nunavut territory, 21.3 Celsius in parts of Nunavut. We've seen 24.4 at Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories. And we're also seeing temperatures as high as 36, 37 Celsius across parts of British Columbia and Alberta. And this temperature anomaly chart represents just how widespread and how extreme this warmth is over North America. But essentially, I want to then show you the Atlantic view and show how the atmosphere is essentially becoming more, once we start to see a strength in the jet stream, it's becoming more amplified. It's creating a Rossby wave progression eastwards that's going to create a wave break scenario. So in other words, it creates like a kind of ripple effect within the atmosphere eastwards. That energy propagates eastwards from the eastern hemisphere to the western hemisphere. That transfer of energy eastwards is then going to create an increase in deepening the trough. Then a consequential ridge will develop behind that trough, and that is exactly what I expect to see over our part of the world. So if we look at the temperature anomaly chart here, yeah, we're warmer than average across anywhere from Mauritania, Senegal, all the way up to the north of the UK. We've got warmer than average conditions. So Northwest Africa, Western Europe, firmly warmer than average. But look at across northern North America. That is an incredibly warm air mass as a consequence of that Rossby wave break over the Pacific. And eventually that will lead to a significant surge of heat, potentially. I have to use the word potentially because I know there's people out there saying, wait, 10 days is far too far out. But I'm giving you the reasons behind why this is likely to be the case. We're talking about this warmth over the Sahel region getting lifted north as a consequence of the pressure change over the North American and Atlantic. So the North American continent, the Atlantic basin, forcing this warmth that is already at record-breaking territory, lifting up into Iberia. We're going to be seeing a push at 42 Celsius across parts of Andalusia County or province in Spain. Then we could be seeing upper 30s across parts of southern France, and even 30s into the south of the UK. Now, granted, a couple of days ago I said we could flirt with 30 this upcoming weekend. 26, 27 is quite likely to be the threshold this upcoming weekend due to lower pressure having a little bit more influence in the UK than what the model suggested a couple of days previous. Have that low a little bit further west or north. You could open the door to something warmer coming in from Iberia. We could have seen 30 Celsius, for example. Or I say flirt. Flirt doesn't mean 30. It means an approach at 30. So we could be talking about 28, 29 Celsius as opposed to exactly that figure. I think it's easy to kind of interpret essentially what you want. So I'm just trying to be as transparent and as honest as possible. This isn't me hyping things up, by the way. This is me showing you the reasons and the evidence behind why I think something may happen. But all that warmth across North America will eventually shift eastwards. And the question mark is going to be positioning and depth of low pressure. So if we look at the 500 millibar geopotential height anomalies, you can see the changes, these Rossby wave breaks, as they propagate eastwards out of North America. We're seeing a deepening of that trough over the eastern and northeastern half of the United States. We've got a little feature running into the UK and Ireland. This is as of the weekend. So this feature, had it be a little bit further west or north, the warmer air that's going to be driving up into the north of France may have entered the southern UK, but essentially the positioning and depth and angle of axis of the low is going to then kind of stop the core of the warmth from coming up into the UK. But it's watching this deepening trough over the northeastern United States as a consequence of the big ridge of high pressure over the western half of North America. That's forcing this deepening the trough. Then we're seeing, as a consequence of the deepening trough, we're seeing the ridge building over the eastern side of North America, and then skip through. There's that ridge building, so very similar to what we're seeing over Western North America, now starting to reflect over the central North Atlantic. That is then forcing a deepening of the trough into the northwest of Europe here, so UK and Ireland. We're going to be seeing quite a drop in temperature, 26 Celsius during the course of Saturday, probably around about a 6, possibly 7 degree drop in the southeast of the UK between Saturday and Sunday, as we see a frontal system moving through, cleaning out the air mass and making things a lot more comfortable once again. If you don't like heat, this will be welcome news, I would imagine. Then as we continue to see this process continue like a bowling ball effect here, like flicking a skipping rope. You can see here the wave breaking taking place, and then as we move towards the end of next week, things get very interesting. We've got a little feature here that becomes cut off, divorced from the jet here between the Azores and Iberia. And this feature here could actually be responsible for drawing some exceptionally warm air over in the northwest of Africa, up through the western side of the Mediterranean, into France and into the southern half of the UK. But there is still a lot of uncertainty with regards to the evolution. The finer details can be very important, but this is certainly very interesting. Look at how the pressure builds over the UK and Ireland here. But this feature here between the Azores and just west of Portugal could act as a little spoke, a little wheel here to drag in some very warm air that is currently over the Senegal, Mali, Mauritania region of Africa. Eventually that air mass is going to get lifted further and further north as a consequence of what's taking place here. And you can see here as we continue to play through to Thursday the 12th of June. Obviously this is the ECM operational model. You have to look at the ensembles to get a better overall handle of things. But certainly there is a lot of interesting evolution going on here. We're going to leave spring and begin the month of summer on a rather unsettled note and somewhat, turning a little bit cooler. But then as we move towards the end of week 1, into week 2 of June, things could get very, very interesting indeed in terms of warm weather. So let's have a very quick look at the European view then and see the 850 temperature profile here, because in fact let's go to the 850s. Let's just go to that and we'll play through the loop here. So you can see here how we flirt with that warmth as we move towards tomorrow and Saturday, 26, 27 Celsius. Very possible we could see a 40 in the south of Iberia. In fact, let's just see very quickly what the temperatures are at the time of recording here. So let's have a look at the UK. We've got 25, 26 Celsius across East Anglia and the southeast this afternoon. Look at the only 12 Celsius at Loch Lascarnock. Let's look at Europe here and see what the temperatures are showing. So yeah, we're knocking the door of 40 Celsius already across Spain and Portugal. Would not be surprised, by the way, if we see an all-time May record fall across parts of Iberia, and we could see the first 40 Celsius on record for the month of May in Portugal, for example. So that is the current setup. We've got 38 Celsius, probably a local 40 this afternoon across parts of southern Iberia, and then we've got obviously stronger 40s showing up down into the heart of northwestern Africa. Looks as if we've got a 41 right close to the coaster on Morocco. But anyway, nevertheless, let's go back to the 850s. So we've got that warmth over the next several days here. Then, as I've showed you already, deepening trough over the northeast United States. Then that reflects over Western Europe as we move into the beginning of the new working week. Fairly deep area of low pressure, dragging in some cooler air. Nothing significantly cold, but cooler air nevertheless. Then continue to play it through and then watch what happens as we start to see this cooler air punch down towards the Azores, associated with that little cut-off feature. All that warm air that is over Africa is going to try and lift northwards here. So there's going to be some back and forth with the model. Some of the models are going to indicate that this air mass does not reach the UK. Others will see it reaching the north of the UK. There's going to be a lot of swings back and forth. So we have to take this, obviously, with a grain of salt. But the general overall picture is reasonably interesting and reasonably clear. The finer details could make all the difference. We could see, mid-30s across the north of France and only mid-20s across the south of the UK if we get a boundary that stays just to the south, or that boundary lift further north. We could be talking about record-breaking start to the month of June in terms of temperatures, 33, 35 Celsius in the southern UK. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen, but the potential is very much there anyway. So, yes, I hope you can stick around. I hope you're enjoying the content. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Full weekend of content coming up, both on markvoganweather.com as well as here on the YouTube channel as well. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Bye for now.